Hello and welcome to the Nirvana Strength Practitioners Panel podcast, where we explore the idea of human performance optimization. My name is MacLeod, the co-founder of Nirvana Strength, and on today's episode we'll be joined by a man with high levels of expertise in the movement, mobility, and Jack Russo method.
Yeah, J Russo for short.
J Russo for short, Joachim Hilderson. And today we're going to be recording again one of the most recommended and naturally elegant accommodations in the Canggu area of Bali, the Haven Suites Bali Berawa Hotel, which is located in a prime area of Canggu, set on a sandy beach, along the Indiana Ocean. Is it the Indian Ocean? I think so, maybe. This upmarket all-suite hotel surrounded by palm trees is 4 kilometers from Echo Beach, or 10 steps from Berawa Beach, which I think it's probably closer. Most important thing is to enjoy an epic holiday in Bali at the Haven Suites Berawa. Okay, so today's topic will be centered on mobility and its place in our lives and training with longevity in mind. So, Joachim.
Yes.
When you think about mobility, how would you explain mobility training to most people? Well, actually, let's start off with people getting to know you a little better. So maybe a little bit of bio background on yourself.
Yeah, I'll try to make it short. I've always been interested in sports. Did a lot of things. Did skateboarding, just whatever was around. And at the age of 14, I started to do bodybuilding. Was pretty serious about it.
Were you big?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was super skinny, and like that was always like the thing that bothered me as a kid growing up. And went to the gym. So my first gym in Belgium, it's the only thing you do is fitness / bodybuilding. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing else. So yeah, everything I do I get kind of obsessed with, and I did it for about 10 years.
Yeah.
14 to 24, something like that.
And you competed?
No, I didn't. They wanted me in the gym because we were a hardcore bodybuilder gym, and a lot of people competed. A lot of champions from that gym as well. But I never competed. Like, it didn't appeal to me. But yeah, that was all I did. Started working, stopped sports, got a little bit fucked up just by work stress, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Gotten back into sports because, that kind of was all I knew, and I didn't like the work I was doing. But became a personal trainer with the only background in bodybuilding I had. But then it's started switching pretty fast. I had different influences back then, and started working out differently, doing a little bit of functional training, all that stuff, kettlebells.
So what was like the big shift? Like, was it a mentor or?
Yeah, the big shift was came right then when I was like 1 year into personal training or whatever. Just the installation of Instagram on my phone, because I installed Instagram, and all of a sudden I saw all these profiles of gymnasts doing crazy stuff and like demonstrating a lot of strength and flexibility. And then I thought, oh fuck, this is nice. Like, I want to do something like that. It seems appealing to me because I was sick of the bodybuilding and all that stuff. I had it.
So do you think if you didn't see that on Instagram, you would have just kept doing the bodybuilding thing?
Back then I was more into like a little bit of functional training and weightlifting in a different style than just your classic pumping up your muscles. So I'd probably be doing that, I guess, yeah. But then got greatly influenced by gymnastic strength style training, which increased my interest for flexibility training. And then I thought, all right, why not try and get flexible? And then totally underestimated the hard work it takes and how to go about it, because there wasn't really good information out there. There probably was if you paid for it, but in the beginning I was pretty broke, so started researching.
Most of the stuff out there though is very focused on the bodybuilding industry.
Yeah.
It's not the gymnastics, strength training, calisthenics stuff, mobility. Even that is still relatively new to the grand scheme of like how modern training is.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably been around a lot longer.
It's been around a long time, man. But yeah, whatever you look for on YouTube, and it probably has changed now, like with the popularity of it. But back then, the only thing you found was like calisthenics, CrossFit style, mobility WOD, stretching, and all that stuff. And looking back to it now, I tried a lot of that stuff. Looking back to it now, that might have not been the ideal way to start, but it taught me some things, but it's a pretty passive approach.
But that's a thing when most people think about mobility, they see, okay, so someone like Kelly Stark from the States, who's seen as like the go-to mobility guy in the CrossFit arena.
Yeah.
How would you say that your approach is different than theirs, and maybe how would you say that maybe what are some false ways of increasing mobility?
Yeah, false, I don't know if anything is false, but I see it working more for people that are already flexible. The stuff he does it's pretty passive approach, and mobility training, from what I understanding, is about teaching the body something so the body really understands. So focusing on the lengthening side and especially on the shortening side, so you get the body going and to understand what you're trying to do. And that is not the case in, like, I had the book as well, Supple Leopard. I don't want to bash on anything, but like
bash away, man.
It basically says yank on your joint in this direction, yank on it in that direction, and hope your body opens up and your groin opens up, without even thinking about, I might need some serious glute strength to open up my groin, and some, so that was a lot of wasted time, I think, trying all these things and just not working for me. And I guess for a lot of people that start out this mobility journey, because I was pretty fucked up, and 10 years of bodybuilding will ruin your joint capsules, ruin everything. So if you're starting from the ground up, that method will probably not get you the best results. So the greatest difference in my approach, the approach that I follow, is we focus a lot on the shortening side and strength train that. So basically all it is strength training your available end ranges, focusing a lot on the shortening side to overcome the stretch reflex actively. And you don't see a lot of people like yoga or the mobility WOD people doing that in that way.
So, I mean, when we think about mobility, it's for yourself, and I see Devin and the other guys at Nirvana training, it's a lot of active engagement.
Yeah, it's a lot of strength.
While working on the flexibility component. So it's that nice combination of the two, where I do find, let's say the Kelly Stark style, or we think about what's happening in yoga, there tends to be a lot of like passive stretching.
Yeah, sit here for 5 minutes and hope it works. Like, it does something, but it's not the best way of teaching your body something. You don't create a lot of strength in it as well. So getting stronger as well as flexible at the same time is a big plus.
Yeah.
Because every bit of range that you open, you strengthen, and you're comfortable in it,
So what are some weaknesses, or what are some problems with opening up the joints and increasing your flexibility without the ability to get that active engagement?
Well, it has less benefits, I would say. Yoga is a great way of opening the body. It has shown to make people flexible over the long term. There's a lot of super flexible yogis. But for example, in my workshops, the yogis are perfect splits, really nice bands, but not strong. They cannot hold it actively. They can't move their body actively, and that is a big problem. They can get into the positions through gravity and through external force, but they can't do it themselves a lot of the times, and that's a benefit. Like, I have nothing against passive flexibility, because the two go hand in hand, but you're losing a lot of benefits that will show in different sports. For example, if you can control your body, you can see how that has a lot of carryover into all different sports. So that's the biggest flaw, I think, in just a passive way of training stuff. You get good at the positions, but you
Right.
can't control yourself, so it has no carryover.
Yeah, so it seems like, yeah, you could. It's fine and dandy to work on your flexibility when you're in the comfort of your own house or room.
Yeah, if you're practicing for that one pose or something.
Yeah, but if you actually try to apply it in a sport or
Yeah,
there's
you're
really
gonna
not much
fail.
application. Yeah.
Yeah. So once we get stronger in our ranges, like more active range, more strong ranges, more movement potential, so that has carryover into every sport you do. It also is a good way of mitigating injury, as though you can never really bulletproof the body. You're gonna get injured if you practice high level sports, but it's a good way of mitigating injury, like a good hip internal and external rotation. You can see how that will probably save your knees in sports where you switch directions really fast and get a little bit of no shit moment and kind of torque your knee a bit, but the range of your hip will kind of.
So have you ever had kind of one of those moments where did you ever have any big injuries that kind of changed your philosophy and the way you trained? Or
Man, I had a lot of injuries. It started in my bodybuilding days, just not knowing what I was doing and not knowing my body.
We find this quite normal, especially with the younger generation, right? It's just kind of more about size,
Yeah.
pump on the iron.
Yeah, that was all I cared about. Just get bigger, get huge, you know. But yeah, that led to a couple of injuries for sure. And even when I started like the more functional training and gymnastic strength training, in the beginning I didn't know what I was doing, so I had my fair share of injuries. But every which one of them kind of teaches you something if you're smart about it, and you know how to deal with your body way better in the long term. So yeah, in the beginning, as somebody who was practicing gymnastic strength, I wanted to get strong, so the same mindset kind of was there still, but then through some injuries I kind of got into more and more flexibility training and range strength training because I saw the value in it, and yeah, that's how I got on this path actually.
And we do see it, I mean, both of us and all of us that work in the fitness industry, it's like with regards to flexibility, mobility, that people tend to shift their training focus from pure strength to those after after having some kind of injury.
Yeah.
And something that wakes them up to be like, shit, I need to work on these other components of life. So when someone is like, where would be a good place for people to start? Like you said, maybe there's some more passive styles out there that might be good to avoid, and maybe.
Yeah. Well, a good place to start is to look up a coach, because there's not anybody really out there who's giving heaps of free content that would kind of make you understand how to program, how to deal with certain things, how to get in and out of positions, where to start, isometrics, and then evolve into different things. So
then if we were looking for a coach, then what things are you looking for in that coach to actually be someone that you would want to work with?
I look for people that have gone through a lot and that have tested a lot on themselves, so they can explain their pitfalls onto you. That's why I was working with BodyFlex for the last 8-9 months, because he's a dude, that German guy, started his mobility training in his 40s, I think, and got super fucking flexible. If you look at his Instagram, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
So.
And that's just at BodyFlex.
Yeah, his Instagram name is BodyFlex. His name is Andre, but I don't know what his last name is. He offers online coaching. He's from Germany. And that is something I look for in a coach, something that has a level that is higher than mine, and who has done it, who has done a lot of the progressions on himself. And he gets good results, so learn a lot from that guy. So that's the most important thing I'm looking for. People that are
actually doing what they're trying to.
Yeah, practice what you preach, kind of thing, Yeah. then again, there's a couple other. I started with FRC. That was the first thing because it's pretty well known.
Is it a good
took
program to study or learn?
Yeah, it gives you a good leeway into how to address mobility training. It was the first thing I followed 2 years back now. The first course I followed that kind of gives you an overview into, okay, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3. If you're thinking about your joints, you're going joint capsule first, then one joint, then multi-joint. Like it has an alright reasoning behind it.
Right.
I don't use it too much anymore. I use some parts of it just because I have found the Nirvana Strength way to be a little bit more flexible, more effective.
Yeah.
Like the work from Body Flex and MacLeod, those two in particular. So, yeah, it has a lot of similarities. FRC is really good if you don't have gym equipment available.
Yeah.
If you're just working with your own body. That's for me personally. You always have something to go to, always. And that is very valuable to me. So I'm pretty happy that I have gone through it.
Yeah.
But if you're in a gym setting, you're probably better off, in my experience, with just strength training your joints and make it loaded, starting from isometric strength and evolving into concentric, eccentric efforts. Load really, the body really responds pretty well to load.
So when you're, but I mean, a lot of mobility stuff, you're dealing mostly with the joints, right? And you're dealing with the ligaments and the tendons. And how does, in this kind of like day and age where people are wanting to make progress really fast, mobility is, I mean, are you going to make that same kind of fast progress?
Man, like there's a lot of people starting out there or trying to start that have unrealistic goals. Like everything's going to take time, especially if your body's been unflexible for a long time. I started at age 29 after doing jack shit actually, so
that's good, man, because I mean now you're doing all these crazy stuff, you know,
like
it's
starting to get there.
And some crazy stuff.
Yeah, man. That's after 3 years of hard practice, you know, and it's only scratching the surface. I think there's a lot of weaknesses in my body still, but I know now how to address them, so that's fair. I'm pretty comfortable right now. What was I saying again? I forgot what we were talking about.
Anyways, mobility, right?
Yeah.
So if we're going into the practice of mobility, you know, we're wanting to, I mean, part of it would have to be going into mindset, right? Like if we want to do it for longevity purposes. So how would you incorporate mobility into the normal everyday practice, or like should someone just be like completely forget all the other stuff they do and just go purely into mobility? Or
never. I don't think one should completely forget the things they're doing, especially if they love the things they're doing. We just need to find the time to incorporate mobility work, and the stuff that I'm teaching right now is kind of, it is, you can go very deep in it and you can spend a whole lot of time in it. But a very good way of dealing with your body is setting priorities. And if you've got your list of priorities, you can just tick off boxes one by one. So it's pretty time efficient if you set a good priority list and then just start from the basics, work one thing at a time. And before you know it, you've got a good body, a good, strong, healthy body, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of remember what we were talking about. A lot of people with unrealistic expectations. Yeah. That was it.
Fast goals, right?
Yeah, a lot of people think in the first 3 months training with me they're going to get flexible or they're splits or whatever. And that's just never the case. Emmett Lewis has a good scale to look on things, and what he says in his seminars is, if you want to get from inflexible to flexible, it's going to take you roughly 18 months on a good program.
Yeah.
If you want to get from flexible to really pretty damn flexible, like nicely, it's another 18 months.
Yeah.
And from there to contortion, it's another 18 months.
Wow.
So if you look at it from those kind of perspectives,
It's
you
like
never
4.5,
really disappoint
5 years,
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's if you look at it from that way.
So on that those scales of flexibility, is it also strength in those positions, or is it just pure
Yeah, man,
flexibility?
it's all strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, strength training your end range is to overcome the stretch reflex actively.
Mm.
So all we're doing is driving force into objects.
For those that might know, can you explain the stretch reflex idea?
Yeah, so it's about the brain, right? Flexibility is not long muscles or anything. It's if you move into a position and there's no strength, your brain's not going to trust yourself.
Right.
And it's going to stop you from going further
It's a
to not hurt
reactive
yourself.
response. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
for
so
safe reasons, right?
Yeah. So it's all the nervous system controlling everything. If I want to open my legs and I get the stretch reflex, my legs go no further. It's just brain says no further. I don't know this. I don't trust you. You know. So mobility training is all about creating trust, and that's why the active way of doing things is pretty alright, because you fire your joint in the shortening side, making it stronger. If it gets stronger, you get more flexible because there's more trust going on. I can exert force here, perfect, let's go further. And then
so at the core of it, mobility is essentially just building trust with your mind and your body to get
let
into
the
new
nervous
positions.
system relax in positions, you know. And that's strength training is the best way of just doing that. Yeah.
Do you incorporate any passive?
Yeah,
in
for
your
sure.
work?
I start off pretty active because there's only so much you can do, right? In the beginning, let's say we're working hip rotation. We're gonna do a lot of active strength work to get there. That also means that you're gonna be really sore, or your body's really gonna be fatigued. So you need rest, just like strength training. So you only tackle certain areas, 1, 2, maybe 3 times per week, but never more.
Yeah.
You let it rest, and then you do it again. So train, recover, repeat. But then you want to create also trust and relaxation in positions.
Yeah.
So that's when we start to incorporate the passive stretches. Once things start opening up a little bit, start feeling better, that's the point where I go about and just sit in the positions and try to relax there to really own it, you know. So passive stretching and active stretching go hand in hand. But if you want to open up a body, first thing you're doing is going for the active strength work. Let it recover, and eventually when you are nearing better alignment or deeper positions, you start relaxing in it, you know.
So then, what would be the difference between hiring, like, let's say, a coach that specializes in mobility work versus working with a physiotherapist?
There's a lot of overlap for sure, man.
Yeah.
I think physiotherapists are a little bit more specialized in everything that is very local, and the naming, and they work with needles, can do dry needling, can do massaging, all that stuff. But a good physio will probably recommend a couple of the same drills that I will recommend for you. But I don't deal necessarily with big injuries. That's not my level of expertise. I can have an opinion on it and not share it, but I'm more comfortable if my people go to a good physio together with my
So when it's injury
programs.
specific.
Yeah, injury specific. Because they're always gonna know more about the injuries. What I think about areas of the body. I don't think about this muscle or that muscle.
Right.
These individual this and that. My anatomy isn't even all that great. I think about areas. How do I get this to fire? Because you don't really need a whole lot of anatomy to know how a shoulder opens up, you know?
Right.
So I'm thinking about this area of tissue here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it work. And if it works, if it gets stronger, it'll get more range, you know? So yeah, that's a little bit of the difference. Like, I go to physio, like I need a good physio back in Belgium, especially if I have pushed myself a little too far or whatever. That can happen. I get excited sometimes, you know, and it's hard to pace yourself sometimes. So then he knows how to treat it, how to needle me, how to kind of adjust the finer things, let's say, but working with a healthy body, like something a good mobility coach can do.
Right.
And
so what would be, I mean, do you incorporate things like smashing and foam rolling and
yeah, I'm a big fan of the release work, actually.
I know there are some physios that say that it doesn't really serve any purpose.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like...
Yeah, I think also the science is like not 100% there. What is it exactly? What does it do exactly? We'll probably know as time goes on. But I know it works. I've got a good example here. Some people need it, other people don't. That's the weird stuff. I talk to physios about it. Some people just not seem to need it ever, and other people get locked up and they need to roll it out or use precision tools for it. What I do is I've got my little shoe brush. I have it on my Instagram
fancy,
sometimes.
It's just like a little tiny shoe brush.
Tiny shoe brush, and I found through experimenting with it that it creates great results. Like even like dry needling, you get the same reactions from the muscles as when you're needling yourself or when a physio is needling you. So I use that. I've got the fancy tools as well. I spend some money, but I always return back to the shoe brush because it works really well.
Is the tool brush, is it because mainly it's just small and thin enough to get into the
shape is really good. Yeah, it's a little bit pointy, but not too pointy, so it's not sharp, and you can get really into specialized areas and work yourself. I have learned how to do it through working with my physios, and seeing them work on me. I've picked up a lot of from them that way. And a good example is I had an injury a good year back, which prevented me from radial deviations from the left wrist. So that means my left wrist could not laterally flex anymore, like nothing, 0 degrees, right? It's one of those things that takes a long time to heal. Once it was healed, I still didn't have any radial deviation, nothing, even though the pain was gone. Then one day I was working on my biceps because I know I have some troubles there with my shoe brush.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I felt the connection between my bicep and my thumb. And I started working on there, and from that day on I had my radial deviation again in my wrist.
Shit.
All the degrees were back.
Wow.
Just by releasing those areas. So for me, it kind of is one of those things that keeps me healthy, because I know if I don't do any soft tissue work, I'm gonna be visiting my physio way more often, you know.
So is that something you do every day? You kind of like scan your body with your shoe brush?
I do it at least every other day.
Yeah.
And I've been working with my body for so long now, and I kind of know what my weaknesses are, where I need some work, especially those areas that are a little bit injured at times. They need a lot of work upstream or downstream, and if you find the right spots, like, you learn how to do it. It's been a focus of mine for a couple of years already. I actually did a workshop about it as well, because I felt the benefits of it, and so I got to know my body pretty well, and it's hard to explain to people the release work, and it's hard to do on others, but if you practice, you get really good results with it on your own, I feel like.
So I mean, let's say you did basically an entire mobility workshop on how to use a shoe brush.
I could probably fill some hours.
Yeah. So then, but like, where does like some of these other kind of mobility programs that are out there, like, where do you feel like they go wrong in trying to explain movements and explain mobility work?
I don't see it as mobility work, soft tissue work. It's just dealing with overly tense areas. I don't know if I'm bastardizing it, but I get areas of the body that get so much neural drive or something, you know, they're just so locked up, and then putting the pressure on it relaxes the nervous system, and that kind of is a great way of dealing with inflammation, for example. If my knee is inflamed and I go the right way with soft tissue work on my medialis, rectus fem. I'm clearing it up in a couple of days without a problem. And usually in the past, I would have gone to a physio for that.
Yeah.
So I don't really see that as mobility training. Yeah.
So the myofascial release stuff, the soft tissue work, that has you seen that it helps you benefit with like inflammation issues?
Yeah, all that stuff. I see it more as preventing joints to get inflamed. Working stuff. If I know I work very heavily on hip external rotation, some of it will go to my calves, and that will get you a little bit of knee troubles. So if you know how to massage your calves well, you have no problem.
Yeah.
You can just keep going on, you know. But if I don't address it after a workout here and there, I would get, in the long run, I would get an inflamed part of the knee or something.
Is there a really basic tool or exercise that you would do for your calves with regards to soft tissue work or massaging it out?
Oh man, I just follow the line of my peroneals. I got that from my physio back at home, which is just the side of the calf. You can just localize the little bone on the lateral part of the knee and track it down with your fingers, and then apply gentle pressure in there. And the shoe brush is actually perfect for that. And that gets that overly tense peroneal to relax.
Yeah.
And the stress towards the knee gets, it's gone afterwards, man. So those things are so valuable, but it's hard to, I don't teach it in my workshops or anything like that. Most of my online clients are also not really doing that unless they have a really specific problem and I help them with it. Most of it's just the end range strength work that seems to have good results. For myself, I train a lot of hours in a day. I'm a personal trainer, I'm a teacher, I do only this, you know. So if you train 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours in a day, your body gets taxed, man. So I think for me it's even more important than for my clients, because they're doing their regular jobs and other things. I don't have many people who train the same amount of hours I do.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more safe for them to kind of just do their work pretty precise and get the results without them having to need to revert to tools like soft tissue and stuff.
Yeah. So what do you think is the best way, I mean, before, or even getting across to somebody who's maybe not yet hurt but are showing symptoms that could more than likely lead to a bigger injury? Like, how do you get across to these people that they need to get working on mobility?
Hard, it's pretty hard. Usually if you've got some insight and you want to share it with somebody, people are stubborn, man. They want to kind of make the error themselves a lot of the times, and then once it's there, they come to you, you know. So I don't really bother. I can share my opinion, but a lot of times people want to make their own mistakes, and not everybody, of course, but a lot of times when you mention something, they're like, yeah, well, I'm fine, this or that, and then if they do get injured or whatever, they come to you for some advice, you know. Other people are pretty thankful if you just, hey, I've been here, you know, this and this could happen, you can maybe address it this way. Some people listen, but most of them want to make their own mistakes, so, you know.
So I guess there are some, I mean, of course there's a lot of argument with regards to like how much, you know, CrossFit has done, like been beneficial to the fitness industry, getting more people involved in
community,
community fitness and stuff. But then also, you know, you hear stories of physios setting up shop right next to a CrossFit gym because they know they're going to get massive.
Exactly what is the case in Belgium is my physio is located right next to a CrossFit box.
Yeah.
So he gets all of them, man. He gets a lot of work done, you know, because it's just your regular Joes trying to do Olympic lifting, which requires a whole lot of joint mobility, and there's joint prep, but there's no real mobility work, you know, because how else are you gonna program? It's not that easy. People are lacking time. They only have that 1 hour or an hour and a half to do their CrossFit workout, get the circuit done. You know, so if they're gonna spend an hour doing targeted mobility work, which they need probably, you know, you get a, yeah, we should get a group fit. However, group fitness in mobility is also hard because you need an individualized approach.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hard dealing with that. Yeah, people just need to realize a little bit what the actual benefits of mobility are. Also towards aging, man, you age so much better. A lot of times you hear people say, "I'm 50 years old. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Yeah.
I used to be flexible. Now I'm not." Like, how many times have you stretched in the past week? Or
Right. It's
you know,
funny how
they
people are
haven't.
just kind of like, almost with the idea is like all of a sudden they just like they lose everything, and it's
Yeah, it's normal, but it's not normal. I know people that are pretty old or really old, and they still do splits and all that
Yeah.
stuff because they maintained it. You know,
I mean,
they
we
keep
got-
the practice
We
alive.
got one guy at the gym. I mean, Paolo. He's
Yeah, I
he's
see him
almost
working.
60.
Yeah.
And man, he's got basically his full middle splits.
He's got good hips, man.
got press handstands. Got,
Yeah.
man, he's
Yeah, and that's all about just maintaining, man.
yeah.
Or just at any age you can start and you can build up your body again. The later you start in life, the longer it takes usually.
The tough one I do hear from a lot of people too is like sometimes people will be like, oh, I'm 50 years old and I can't do it anymore, and their thinking is basically that they're like a lost cause, right? Like there's
Yeah.
no ability to
Yeah.
even improve on their situation.
Yeah, there's a lot of resistance, and even though if you tell them like it's really possible,
Yeah.
you kind of get yeah, they don't agree with that just because they might not want to believe, you know, it's a lot of work, and I don't know if I'm up for that work, you know. It's
Yeah.
the same in dietitians and nutrition, you know. It's the same in a lot of fields. You have to believe in it. But I see, like, I train a little mobility class in Belgium. They're mostly older, so 50, 60. They're improving, man. It's only 1 hour a week. Hip extension goes, man, they improve so much. They're hanging for a minute right now, like each and every one of them. The oldest one is 67. She hangs a full minute without a problem. Like, the body adjusts. Like, it took them 20 weeks to get some serious results.
Yeah.
The first little bit of serious results that was really noticeable.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going, you know, because they always rock up Tuesday at 7:30, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing even what once a week will do for you. We
Yeah.
have one client that my business partner and I are working with once a week. He's 85, and man, he's only been going for now 16 weeks.
Yeah.
But in that 16 weeks, once a week, like
Yeah.
he's massively stronger.
Yeah, there you go. And
Very noticeably stronger, much more mobile.
yeah,
Can perform movements that he used to
yeah,
not even be able to get into the correct position, but
Yeah.
now he can get into like almost full range of movement.
Yeah.
And he's 85.
yeah, and that's what happens when they come to somebody like yourself or a gym setting like yours or a practitioner like me. We kind of know how to prioritize things
Yeah.
and what to work on. And if it's 1 hour a week, you don't want to make it interesting for them and switch it up every week. You want to give them a lot of stimulus that's pretty much the same over and over, so they get that result. And if you stimulate them that way, 1 hour a week is great, man. It'll go faster if they train more.
Sure,
or you
of
can
course.
tackle more areas, more priorities, but like, you can do it, and it's only 1 hour of your there's a lot of hours in 1 week.
Yeah.
Man, so
So do you focus much on like nutrition with regards to how it affects you with regards to your inflammation?
yeah, big time. I used to not care about it really, because, you know, I am a personal trainer. I do work out 3, 4, 5 hours a day, so I don't need it to have a low body fat percentage.
Yeah.
But looks like I was eating tons of crap actually, and a lot of sugar, which would keep my joints inflamed. And thankfully I met Dom Rapson last year.
Yeah.
Goes by origins.nutrition on Instagram, and he started talking to me because I have an autoimmune disease. I was on medication for that for 2 years.
Yeah.
basically my body rejects my large intestine, and it was just destroying it from the inside out. Plus I had way more inflammation. Like I had chronic tennis and golfer's elbow that didn't go away. So he started talking to me. He said, like, I know how to fix your problems. Like, you don't have to believe me, but it's pretty easy. I think 2 months and we're good.
Yeah.
And I just said to him, let's try it out. Like, I have nothing to lose, you know. I'm always willing to try stuff out. If they don't work, they don't work, but you've learned from it, right?
I think that alone right there, I mean, I always say if most people even just took that approach, that mentality towards training or towards nutrition, where they were just like, well, there's nothing, it can't get any worse, at least let me try and see if it works.
Yeah, once the results are there, you get psyched anyways, you keep going.
Yeah.
So 2 months later, I stopped taking my autoimmune disease medication. I haven't taken it since. It's 9 months further now.
Wow.
Also, tennis and golfer's elbow went away, so nutrition is definitely a big factor in keeping the body free of inflammation and autoimmune disease in my case. So yeah, I wouldn't make that mistake again. Yeah.
So with with regard to your training, like what are your goals now? Like what are you looking to improve on?
Yeah, so I've got I'm pretty hard on myself. I've opened up some areas of my body pretty well, but I feel like I've got a lot of restrictions still. So I'm continuously trying to improve my mobility game as a first priority.
Is there an end goal, or is it just never ending?
It's probably never ending. You know, there's always something. You know? But I focus a lot on the basics, and the older I get, the more I revert back to a lot of the basics, and just because they're so damn good, a solid foundation is pretty important. So I'm just gonna keep grinding my way towards really nice splits, better head to toe, good shoulders for handstands. Like, I'm a mobility coach, so I should be able to demonstrate everything really well. And there's some things that I need somebody else for. Right. And I don't like that, you know. I want to do it all myself. I've got a lot of people that I coach that are more flexible than me. So I want to close that gap and get strong and flex for sure.
I think reverting back to the idea of like how to choose a coach to work with, and someone. You obviously. You can see it through your Instagram and everything you do at the gym, and like you have. I see so many people who are like consider themselves as mobility coaches, and they just like their actual mobility is just horrible. What are your thoughts of like coaches that are like that, where they just there's a lot of people calling themselves a lot of things. There's the guys that are extremely flexible, but have been so from a young age and cannot relate to anybody who starts at age 30, for example. And that doesn't make him a good coach. It's just they have done it a completely different way. If you train a child or you train an adult, so different. Yeah. So there's those guys for sure. So then even choosing a coach that like most adults maybe started later in their lives might be another.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. And somebody, like, for example, what I offer, what maybe one of the values of my coaching and my teachings is I just go through all of it, man. I test out everything day in, day out. I'm training, I'm testing, I'm feeling out how it should feel, what it does to my body, how my body reacts, how much recovery I need, how much volume it needs. I'm testing it out day in, day out because it keeps me up at night, you know. So I'm practicing all day. So I try to find coaches like that as well.
So do you think is it hard for coaches, like let's say if a coach has been like coaching high level, kids for their whole career, and then trying to create a program or trying to relate the program to adults?
It's gonna be different. I don't think they're gonna have a good feel about it. There's probably people who understand it pretty well, but if you've been doing that your whole life and then you're trying to go for the only thing you can refer back to is the kids you have trained and the gymnast kids at that. So you're not gonna have a good feel with the regular adult, I think.
I think, and probably even more so if your only experiences with kids at a high level, plus yourself and your own physical abilities are very limited.
Yeah, and or declining, you know. Yeah, I don't think that's a good way. They should probably stick to the kids.
Yeah, I mean, that's. I think it's hard for some coaches to kind of, stick to their lane, right? Like, know what they know and really own up to that, but also understand that they don't theoretically have the answer for everything.
Yeah,
like
true.
There's a lot of coaches that they get like a PT cert and they want to feel like they have to know everything.
Yeah. I think that's a big mistake. There's definitely a lot of things that I don't know, and if I get questions, I will just say I do not know, and maybe refer to someone else, or you cannot know everything. And
but even that point you're making now, like just having the ability to say that I don't know, either A, I'm going to refer you to someone who I think knows, or B, take the time to figure out what the answer is before I give you an answer.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say most of the fitness industry is there's always an assumption like, okay, I know, I'm going to refer back to some Men's Health article that I read like 6 years ago and say this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, you can't take all the money, Yeah, I mean, there's got to be places in time where you just say, I can't help you, or I'm maybe not qualified for this, and just help the people and target the people that you can be helpful to. I'm not really in the business. I make money doing this, of course, but that's not the end goal, because I'm a practitioner by heart, and I just want to, be able to teach people what I know and get them to experience results. Because if you're training people that you have no clue what to do with them, but you just took their money, they're not getting any results, and that's bad for business as well, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think as trainers and in the industry and as a whole, like people would, I mean, from just a moral, ethical issue I have with it is, if you're a personal trainer, you're a coach, you're trying to help people improve, but if all you're doing is just giving them some fake answers and taking their money, then what are you doing?
What are you doing exactly? And that's why I also think it's pretty good to have kind of a niche in the industry.
Yeah. Like
I do mobility related work, and it's building strength, and that's that. I don't really go outside of that realm, When I started online coaching, I taught a couple of people something about handstands, because they asked, or a little bit of strength work. But I don't do it anymore because I want to focus on the thing that I'm really good at. I'm pretty good at getting people more flexible and strong. And then my handstand practice isn't it. I have a practice, but it's not high level, So then I have to make a video, but then it has to be a good day of balance, Fuck that. I'm over that, man. I just stick to what I know, and people will come to you that way for sure. Just stick to what you're good at. Yeah, I think a lot of people need to hear that, so stick to what you're good at.
I think, it's, I mean, it always goes to even the basic idea of like, you might have heard it as something else, but the Dunning-Kruger effect, where it's basically, the idea of it is about competency, right?
Yeah.
So like someone who has no knowledge of training, they get their initial personal training certification, and then they just feel like they know everything, right? They have such a low level of education and knowledge, but their confidence level is massively high.
Yeah.
And some of them even think they know as much as like high level experienced coaches. But the idea is that as their experience goes up, as they gain more knowledge, their confidence level starts to decline because they have a more realistic view of what their knowledge base is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the more knowledgeable you get and the further in this game you get, the more questions you have.
Yeah.
That is a fact. So it humbles you. Yeah.
So yeah, having a good idea of like where are you the most knowledgeable, and then actually being able to identify like where you're weak.
Yeah.
Not in your own like personal body movements, in your own awareness, but also in your knowledge base. It's not saying that you should always just stick to what you're really really good at, but you need to have at least a good base of knowledge to have an opinion on.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you want to make some money doing this, you know, if it's your profession or you're transitioning into this profession. I get in the beginning that you want to take all the work or just want to come across as somebody very knowledgeable, but if you're good at what you're doing and you keep practicing, like the knowledge will grow anyways, and the results will show up anyways. So it kind of grows organically from there. I never had to put too much effort into marketing efforts or anything like that, because I had a serious practice first. Then I got the requests for coaching. Then I started the online coaching, you know. And it was pretty organically. I never had to advertise it, and now I'm, you know, doing pretty good with my clients, and so far
I think
I'm pretty happy.
I mean, we're such in a very fast kind of state in life now where everybody wants like immediate results. People want money as fast as they can, and the idea of growing something organically is, man, it's slow.
It is slow, yeah. And I guess I'm lucky that I didn't start out with the idea that I was gonna start online coaching or start traveling to do workshops. I just started building my Instagram because I liked putting up photos back then, and it just was a cool way of communicating with other people, because I've got a lot of people through Instagram that I just regularly talk to and ask questions, and they me, and it's such a big community, and it didn't feel like a chore building that up, you know. And then all of a sudden, you know, you have enough following to so that people can reach out to you and know how to find you and want to work with you, and or fly you over for a workshop. It's really good, man.
That's
pretty,
nice, man.
But if that is the goal and you're nowhere, you just need to know that it's gonna take some time. You have to let it grow organically and just practice hard and show what you're doing. And
but I mean, even as trainers or people who want to take this on as like a profession, it's not even a negative to grow it slowly. You're spending a lot of time on personal development and becoming better, having more to offer your clients. Yeah,
for sure. And you're gonna be maybe not making a lot of money in the beginning, but if you're doing what you love, you're already a step ahead, you know. So if you're broke for a couple of years, why not just be broke, just fucking, and then, you know, people will want to work with you anyways after a while, you know, if you keep the practice alive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to go into a profession like half in, half out.
I knew I wanted to go in the fitness industry because I've bloody hell hated my job, man. And I knew that was the only thing I wanted to do, because that was the only world I had lived in for so long, even if it was bodybuilding. So I kind of quit my job one day to the other, just quit it, drove home at 6 a.m. in the morning after my boss yelled at me for some fucking reason. Motherfucker. Anyways, I started looking for a job. I didn't get one, actually. Like, it was only a year and some months later that I got a job in the fitness industry. And
is it tough getting a job in Belgium?
Yeah, it wasn't easy, man.
It's just not a big demand for it?
And that was just me working in a basic fit. Like, well,
like
it was another name. The name was... Yeah, Jim's Fitness, like a chain, you know.
Oh, it was just named Jim.
I was bloody cleaning machinery and signing people up and all that stuff. That's what
I find that's big in a lot of the kind of global gyms, is that the trainers themselves, like being a trainer is actually secondary to being a salesman, to cleaning the gym, to...
Yeah, because I was already very interested in more functional training back then. And if I was talking, like, people recognized it because they saw me training differently.
Yeah.
So I started people started asking me questions.
Yeah.
I would give them responses, train them a little bit, show them some stuff. And I actually got called out on it, like, you need to be cleaning machines right now, you know?
Really?
Yeah. So that was more important than me educating the people of that gym, you know?
Yeah, I think from a gym like culture's perspective too, as you can see, like how much time and energy do the owners put into the education of the coaches. And that was a big focus, like for us at our gym is, you know, our coaches don't do anything else but coach.
Yeah.
And if they get any additional duties, it's on doing more research into writing articles about their. So like Tara, one of our coaches, she was dealing with tendonitis issues in her elbow.
Yeah.
So basically, I assigned her homework. I was like, okay, you need to research how to deal with your tendonitis issues, right? And so not only does she get the benefit of figuring out what is actually wrong with her elbow, but through all of her research, she can compile a summary, write a little small article that it contributes to the community of the gym.
I think that's a great way of thinking, because that's how you get quality staff like you have, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously your people are pretty well trained and they're doing a great job in teaching people. Just I can tell by looking at the sessions they're providing and talking to them. Actually, back at home in Belgium, I'm a personal trainer. I do 6 people a day.
Yeah.
If all the blocks are filled up, of course. But if the block is not filled up, there's no spot, nobody signed up for it, what I have to do is pretty much clean or whatever instead of research or getting better at my craft, you know? And that's something that kind of bothers me because I'm a little bit too old to be cleaning. Like, I don't want to clean anymore.
I can only imagine you with like a little janitor uniform on and just swiping the floor.
I've done it a lot. I don't want to clean showers, man. Get a professional crew. They're going to do it better anyways. And the time you spend training, investing money in yourself, Skyping to people, doing all of this stuff it doesn't count as work. There's 6 blocks open, you need to work 6 blocks.
Yeah.
If I got 4 blocks and I study 2 blocks, I'm getting better at teaching people. You know? So that's one of those things, man.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, as a trainer, if that's kind of you want to go more into this industry, I mean, finding a place that actually promotes you as a coach or as a trainer to become better. Yeah. I mean, for me as a gym owner, I would love for, I mean, my coaches basically do 15 hours a week of coaching, and all the other duties are on their own training, on writing articles, on taking seminars, on doing, because I know that immediately, like investing in the coaches goes immediately back into the product of the business and working with the members. And
that's why Nirvana Strength has pretty quickly become one of the great gyms out there, you know.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. In Bali already,
we get guys like you coming out
be.
Too.
Yeah. So, it's been fun training there, man, as well. Like, rocking up here and just meeting the crew, meeting Dan, seeing how you guys do it. It's fun for me being abroad, like in Australia as well, and seeing the crew in Perth and all the gyms there. Yeah. Just seeing how different people manage their gyms and how the community is, how the teachers are, how well they do, their training methods, all that, man. It's super fascinating for me to see and to witness. So pretty happy to be traveling and teaching and learning and rocking up at places like Nirvana Strength to continue growing, you know.
It's in the growth, right? That's the journey, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for so much for coming on. So where can everybody find you?
Oh, yeah. On Instagram, under Hilderson Joachim. That's my name. It'll be listed down.
Yeah, I'll put it in the notes. Yeah. Yeah. And then this is, again, the Nirvana Strength Practitioners Panel Podcast. You can find us at Nirvana Strength on Instagram or just on Nirvana Strength Bali for our website. Thanks for coming and listening, and thanks to Joachim. Oh, we never talked
Thanks for
about
having me, man.
the Jack Russo method. What is that? What's that about? What's that about?
Let's do this real quick. Yeah, so I was guest teacher at a retreat in Bali 7 weeks back. It was organized by Harry Williams, aka Holistic Movement. Shout out to Harry Williams. It was a really good retreat, fun group, and one of the guys, Will, I actually did 2 workshops in Wollongong where he has a gym, Ghetto Movement, also great place to be at. And my name, Joachim, is pretty hard to pronounce for Australians, Americans, whatever. Like, they have it hard, man.
Yeah.
So it's always something. It's something weird that comes out. So Will started calling me Jack, and I was like, all right, like I can live with Jack. But I said, if I'm gonna be Jack, you can call me Jack Russo, because I thought Jack Russo was a famous actor. But I got it all mixed up. Actually, I was referring to Jacques Rousseau, which is a French philosopher. And that name was in my head, but I thought I was an actor because I had my shit mixed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of stuck from there, and I kind of find it funny to go with it, man. If you look up Jacques Rousseau on Google, it's a bald, fat, white guy, you know. So,
the complete opposite of mobility.
But just because it's more for laughs than anything else. We labeled my teachings the Jack Russo method, and that's where I'm going with right now.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man.
All right. Thanks
well,
for having
enjoy
me.
the rest of your time in Bali.
Thanks,
and
man.
We'll see you again soon.
Yep.
Gonna move here, yeah?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Won't be long.
Won't be long. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Peace.